So good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is David Smith. I'm the Director of Diversity Programs here at the IFA, and we welcome you to our final webinar of the year with our Black Franchise Leadership Council. And we're just having a wrap-up conversation and to talk about all of the successes of the year. And to begin, I'd like to introduce our chair, Ms. Carolyn Thurston. Carolyn?
Hello, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us today. As we're approaching the holiday season, it just seems like the most appropriate time to celebrate everything that has happened, the opportunities we've had throughout this year. But I'm so excited about the information we're all getting ready to partake of. Again, my name is Carolyn Thurston. I am the founder and CEO of Wisdom Senior Care. I'm also the chair of the Black Franchise Leadership Council. I have the opportunity to sit on the IFA Board of Directors as well, but we're so excited and we can't wait to get into our guest speaker. So before that, I would like to introduce Pam Gore, if she would come on.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pam Gore. I am the co-chair, as Carolyn mentioned, and I'm also the Director of Development Marketing for Dine Brands. So wanted to just welcome everyone to this event. It's going to be the first of many. And we look forward to having you guys join as we continue this effort.
I would like to share my screen, so because with AI is
there's
good to kind of just
somebody,
show
David,
how you
can you mute?
Yeah.
Yes, if you're not speaking, can you please mute?
Thank you. All right. Sorry, Pam, were you finished?
Yeah, I was finished.
Okay. So why don't we have the head of our chair of the Diversity Institute, which is Richard Snow, if you would come on next, please.
Excellent. So I would like to just say, welcome to the Black Franchise Leadership Council webinar. And today we're going to be just talking about generational wealth and franchising. We are honored to have you all join us as we delve into this important topic that holds a significance for the future of our community, our economy, and the U.S. Generational wealth is not just a personal achievement, but a means to empower and uplift future generations. So we're excited to have this panel of esteemed experts who will share just really valuable insight and strategies on how to build and sustain generational wealth through franchising. So we hope this webinar will inspire, inform, and enable you to make meaningful strides towards securing a prosperous legacy for yourself and for generations to come. So I thank you for taking the time out, because I know we're all busy, so we take time out for what matters most. And I'm glad that we matter to you. So let's embark on this journey together towards financial empowerment and legacy building.
And Richard, I think you're going to introduce our speaker, please.
Yes, I will. So I will introduce our next speaker. So we have the privilege of having as our keynote speaker, Dr. Willie Jolly, CSP, CPAE. He's in the Speaker Hall of Fame. He's the 2023 Cavett Award recipient. He's named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world and motivational speakers of the year by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International. He just won an award with Les Brown as being one of the top speakers for Joseph R. Biden Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, best-selling author of Setbacks is a Setup for a Comeback, an attitude for excellence, top-rated Sirius XM host, podcast, TV host, and Radio One syndicated radio personality, and a High Point University personal development artist in residence. I give you Dr. Willie Jolly.
Well, thank you, Brother Richard. I appreciate you, and I'm grateful, 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 grateful. Well, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I did not seek it. I did not choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be able to speak to all of you. First, to say, 'tis the season to be. You know that's right, jolly. Come on, somebody. And so, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you, and I hope that y'all will have a great holiday season. I want to particularly thank my friend Richard Snow. What a great guy! What a great man! We connected at the Black Caucus this year and just clicked. And so, our friend Kevin Hicks introduced us, and I mean, just clicked. And when he called and said, look, could you do this event? My answer was yes. I just had to figure out logistically, because as they said, I got an award yesterday at the Hope Global Forum. Myself, George Frazier, and Les Brown got the Titans of Speaking award, Legends of Speaking Titans. And so I had to get from all of the events last night and then get a flight so I could get back here so I could do this. So I'm grateful to be here. We got a short time. Hopefully I'll come back and we'll do a longer, deeper dive into some real pertinent issues from some of my past books as well as my new book. But most people in corporate America know me for my work with Ford Motor Company and the fact that my job is transformation in terms of your thinking. Scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so my goal and my job when I go in to speak for organizations is to transform the people, transform the performance, and transform the profits. And most people know me for my work with a little company called Ford Motor Company. In 2006, Ford was on the brink of bankruptcy. They brought in a new CEO named Alan Mulally, who had turned around Boeing aircraft. Boeing needs them right now, in fact. But anyway, he came to Ford and took over. And they were in a corporate meeting one day, and they said, we need a comeback. All the vice presidents, Alan Mulally and his team said, we need a comeback. And one of the vice presidents, senior VPs said, hey, I read this book. A setback is a setup for a comeback by a guy named Willie Jolly. And I've heard him speak. We need to bring him in and work with us. And they called me and invited me to work with Ford in 2006, 2007, 2008. As you might remember, 2009, Ford was the only one of the big three automakers to be able to reject a government bailout. They went from losing $1 million a month in 2006 to making $1 billion, but $1 billion a month in 2009. Now, what happened? Did the economy go up between 2006 and 2009? No, it went down. Did the circumstances in America go up? No, they went down. What changed? Thinking. When you change your thinking, you'll change your future. Scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. When you think different, you'll do different. And so out of that came many more opportunities with Johnson & Johnson Dubai and Walmart and Verizon and Coca-Cola South Africa and Prudential Malaysia. People said, if you can help Ford, you can help us. And the word got out and I started getting busy. And then I was blessed in 2014 to get the call to replace Zig Ziglar when he died on the Get Motivated tour. So for years, I'd go to the arenas and sit in the front row and take notes with Zig Ziglar and Colin Powell and Les Brown, and all of the big people would come to the big arena in Washington, D.C. Well, when Zig died, I was honored that they called me and asked me to replace him. So for that time up until the COVID, I was during the Get Motivated tour, myself and Les Brown and Damon John and others, 2 cities a week. But then COVID changed everything, and I could focus on my Sirius XM show, which I'm proud now to say is the #1 self-help show in the country, as well as my daily syndicated feature on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell on Radio 1 stations. And so we started working on new books and new things. And then I got an opportunity earlier this year to speak for a burgeoning, growing franchise company out of Utah. The guy had seen me on television. In fact, he saw me on the Crystal Cathedral on the Hour Power. I was speaking there, and he said, I need that guy. And he flew me out to Utah because he said, we've got to build this franchise. It's a co-owners. And afterwards, after my message to his people, he said, every franchise needs to hear your message. because what you spoke to is what I need. I need you to help me grow my people. You grew their thinking and help them to buy into my vision. And so I always say that the best way to grow your success is first grow yourself. And then the next thing you must do is grow your people, because you only can give what you got. If you got good people, they'll give good responses, but you want great people. In fact, in my book, An Attitude of Excellence, which came out after the Ford message of story of program, An Attitude of Excellence were written. In fact, the foreword is written by the CEO of Ford and Stephen Covey. I say in this book that in order to grow your business, you got to give great service, not just a great product, but great service. And great people tend to give great service. Good people tend to give good service. Mediocre people only have the capacity to give mediocre service. And negative people will kill your organization. That is why you got to grow your people. You got to invest in your people, because that is where the greatness is going to come. Now, when Richard and I first talked, he said, I told him about my new upcoming book. As I said, I'm on Sirius XM. This is my 19th season, and I've been blessed to interview some of the greatest wealth creators on the planet. David Rubenstein, billionaire. Dave Stewart, America's wealthiest Black person. Many people don't know about him. He's a quite wealthy, but he is the wealthiest Black man in America. I've had him on numerous times. Bob Johnson, Sheila Johnson, Bill Marriott. I've had Ted Leonsis, Steve Case, founder of AOL, Mark Randolph, founder of Netflix, billionaires. And here's what I discovered, folks. Here's what I discovered. That if you want to create wealth, now, oh, by the way, the new book is called Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. Come on, somebody. Rich is good, wealthy is better. And so this book is going to be transformational, because in this book, I got to give you the quick synopsis, because I only got 15 minutes. There's a deep dive I want to go. Oh, I wish I had time. I'd go into this thing and give you the real deal, the T, as they say. But I'll give you the basic premise is that rich is money you make from what you do. Wealthy is money you make from what you own. You get rich during the day from the work you do, but you get wealthy at night while you sleep, when that money goes to work for you. And helping people understand, because see, when I started writing the book, what I did was I started saying to people, hey, give me an idea. What do you say when somebody says rich? What's your idea of rich? And people say, well, rich is $1 million. If you're $1 million, you're rich. I said, okay. Now, what's wealthy then? And they say, ooh, I don't know, maybe $10 million. They compute wealth with a number, but it has nothing to do with the number. It has to do with how the money is generated. And once you get that idea, then you start realizing you got to have streams of income, multiple streams of income to create wealth. And then you got to invest that income and be disciplined. You can't ball out. You can't ball out. No. You got to take some of that money, and you could have you have a little fun, but you got to have that money working for you. Amen. So rich is good, wealthy is better. Rich is money you make by what you do during the day. Wealthy is money you make by what you own that makes money for you while you sleep. And so I say to you that we got to talk about as franchisees and franchisors, how to make money in this incredible industry of franchise. I've spoken for many franchises, McDonald's Black owners, McDonald's owners. I've spoken for numerous, but once I spoke for this franchise group, a fairly new franchise, and was able to get my hands in and start helping them grow their people, grow the thinking of their people, getting their people to buy into the vision. And they start saying, wow, we saw such a growth in our company the quarter after you left. We got to bring you back. I'm going to be going back soon. And so I'm saying to you that this is a great opportunity, but real generational wealth, that's what we got. One of the things we got to talk about is for real generational wealth, because far too often in our community, generational wealth has been where somebody leaves somebody a house and $10,000. Am I right? Y'all know I'm right about it. And so, and here's what happens. They fight over the house. They fall apart. Nobody talk to nobody over the house. And then the money, it evaporates. It evaporates like it just goes, it's gone, it's gone. It never reaches the second, third, fourth, fifth generation. No, that's not the way to do that. In fact, I'm gonna give you a personal thought. I don't think I've ever told anybody in the audience this before in my life, because this was a personal family situation with my life. My mama died and left my brother and I a house and some significant money. We had the money and I invested my money. The house, though, was interesting, but my mama died, and unfortunately, 25 days later, my brother died, leaving 7 children who were living in the house that my mother left, because they lived with my mother. I had a conundrum. What do I do? Do I ask them to buy me out? No, they were all in either school or college. They didn't have no money. Or do I sell the house and get my half and then use it to invest? But let me tell you what I did. I prayed about it. I prayed about it. So I'm telling y'all, for those who don't like people of faith, y'all ain't gonna like me, because I'm a man of faith and I'm proud of it. But I prayed about it. And God told me, give it to him. And I gave him the house for $10. And we had no drama in our family, because they all grown now. That was 20 years ago. They're grown. But they never have forgotten that we didn't fight over a piece of property. And so, folks, I want to help you win real generational wealth. Let me tell you about real generational wealth. As franchise owners. Now, see, here's the problem. We often see a basketball player who's a great basketball player, and people think that his son is going to be a great basketball player. Well, if that son don't like basketball or can't play basketball, he cannot get the benefits of that gift. But franchisees and franchise owners, y'all got an opportunity. I had on my XM show the president of the Dale Carnegie Institute. Dale Carnegie teaches leadership and public speaking. And so I interviewed him and I said to him, how many franchises do you have? He said, we make our money from franchise fees. We have X amount of franchises around the world. I said, okay, and what's the fee that you charge these people? And he told me, I said, whoa, that's good money. That's good. All that money by that. Oh my goodness. And then I said, well, let me do, where can I buy some stock? He said, you can't. I said, why not? He said, because it's a private company. It's a private company. Who owns the company? He said, the family. How long have they owned it? Here's, folks, when it hit me. 110 years. 110 years, people have been making that money from that investment that Dale Carnegie did back in 1910. Folks, generational wealth. And that's what we got to get to. And so we're going to come back. Look, my time is almost up. My time is almost up. I got to go. Richard, I love you. Thank you, and everybody. But let me give you my closing thought. I'm so glad that y'all are here. I'm glad that Black franchisees and franchisors have made a commitment to come together, to share best ideas, to share best working practices. Keep doing it. We got to help each other. We got to encourage each other. We got to inspire each other. We got to lift each other. And why? Because I believe your best is yet to come. I was a news speaker. I had no books, no tapes, no television, no radio, no credentials to be a speaker. I was struggling to keep the lights on, struggling to keep the phones on. I make sales calls. People say, I never heard of you before in my life, and hang up in my face. I'd get discouraged. Anybody ever got that rejection and get that kick in the gut and get that discouragement? Well, it takes something out of you. And sometimes I wouldn't make no more calls that day. Well, a couple of days go by, I got my dander up and I started making my calls. The first guy I talked to said, I want to talk to you. I said, great, 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 great. And so I said, great, great, great. And so it was a tough time. And he said, I've got a meeting. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida. I said, oh, yeah. He said, are you available? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm available. He told me the budget. I said, that worked. It was more than I usually charge. He said, we're going to send you a first class ticket to Orlando. You come down, you give the speech, and you come back, and you come down there and give a speech, and we're going to send you back afterwards doing it just with a big check. I said, yes, sir. I went to Orlando. I gave the speech. They gave me a standing ovation. Then they gave me my check. I'd never seen that much money on a check in my life. Put it in my pocket. Finished meeting and greeting people. Feeling good. Went to the airport. Feeling good. Got in my seat. Feeling good. Plane took off. I'm feeling good. I decided to pull that check out a second time to get that thrill one more time. But when I looked at the check the second time, I got depressed. Because I realized that money was already allocated. Anybody ever got your check before you get home, you know it's gone? I started having a pity party with myself right there in B22. An older gentleman across the aisle must have sensed I was struggling. An African-American man. He said he was a minister. And he spoke every day in a different city about health and wealth. I said, you speak every day? He said, yes. I said, you fly every day? He said, yes. We spoke for a few more minutes. Then he asked me a question that changed the trajectory of my future. He said, young man, how old do you think I am? I said, sir, I think you're about maybe 60. He smiled. He took off his glasses. He looked me dead in the eye. He said, young man, I'm 88 years old. I'm 88, and my best is yet to come. Oh my God. In that moment, everything shifted in my head. If an 88-year-old man could have the optimism, believe that his best days were in front of him and not behind him, what did I have to whine and cry and complain about? And I went home with a new attitude. And I got on that phone and started making sales calls. And if people say no, I'd say next. They say, I'm not interested in what you got. I say, you ain't the right one. Well, 30 years have gone by. I've been inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame. I've named the first African-American man to get the Cavett Award. I've got best-selling books, television, radio, but it's just a tip of the iceberg. And I said to you, without a question in my mind, Black franchisees, without a question in my mind, your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. You have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, you can't refuse it. You did not seek it, you did not choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but your eternities are wrapped up in it. It's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure for me to be with my friend Richard Snow and all of y'all today. Merry Christmas. 'Tis the season to be. You know what I'm saying. Jolly. Love y'all. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Jolly, for that wonderful message. I wanted to make sure that we let everybody know that your book will be available soon.
Yes.
We have a QR code for anybody that's interested in learning more.
QR code, and the book is in production. It'll be probably first quarter next year. Also, please go to wjwow.com. Get a free some free books, some free resources. wjwow.com, as well as you can get my other books on my website, winwithwillie.com. winwithwillie.com. Thank y'all. Hope y'all have a great rest of your meeting. Hope y'all enjoy the holidays with your family and keep thinking big. Yeah. Your best is yet to come. God bless you.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you. Next, we wanted to shift the conversation to some franchisees that we know who are living the generational wealth experience together. And we'll have a conversation with Toya Evans and her daughter, Lauren Williamson, who are multi-unit, multi-brand franchisees, moderated by Nancy Williams. Nancy, I'll pass it to you to set up the conversation.
Great. Well, thank you so much and welcome everyone. We're very excited to have you here. We've got some great franchisees with us that are going to share with us about their business. First up, we have Toya Evans. She's a multi-unit, multi-brand franchise owner for Tropical Smoothie, Hand and Stone, and VO Med. As well as Lauren Williamson, who's also part of that group, mother-daughter, multi-unit franchise owner of those same brands. And then, of course, we have our very own Richard Snow, who is with the Diversity Institute board chair, and he is a recent owner of the Brooklyn Robot Foundry. So thank you so much for being here, and we're excited to have you and hear your great insights to what it's like to be a person of color as a franchise owner, and some of the challenges that you faced and how you're also building wealth. So our first question up is, can you share your personal journey as a minority entrepreneur in the franchise industry and how you have worked toward building generational wealth? Toya, I would love to start with you just to hear a little bit about your journey and how you got here.
Sure. So I am, I'll say, a recovering tech head because that was my life before franchising. I was in the technology world building products. So I like to say if you have no spam or minimal spam in your mailbox, if you've got fast internet speed and all those things, lots of applications from mail to project management, I probably had something to do with it. And that was what I did beforehand. I decided to go into it, and that took a lot out of my family. My daughters have all these crazy stories. They say they're waiting to tell on Forbes about life with both of their parents who were tech heads and traveling and doing things. But we decided to look at an opportunity for us to do something that would do exactly what we've been talking about, which is to build generational wealth. It wasn't just about finding something that would ultimately replace our corporate salaries, but it was something that my grandchildren and their children would be able to benefit from. So we started in franchising with that goal in mind, and we continue to work towards that. We focus on products and services that promote a healthy lifestyle. So all of the brands that we're representative of right now, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa, as well as our newest addition, VO Med Spa, they all are focused in that area. And we have Lauren's kids are my oldest grandkids, but now my youngest grandchild, who's 4, or she's one of the younger ones, she's involved. Like they know how to look at real estate now. They can ride into a shopping center right now and tell us why it's good or why it is not. And then they will also tell you what brand they think that we have right now would work in that shopping center. And they are very actively involved. Maybe not that they will come in and take over, but they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And if you ask them who I work for, they say Mimi works for us because that is true. And because that's the
That's
only
great.
reason I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's really great. And as a certified franchise consultant, I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I always tell clients it's really great to pick brands that that resonate with you and what you stand for, and things like health and wellness and senior care and children's education. We'll hear from Richard shortly about that. You know, those brands help you get up every morning and go into the office and do what you got to do, you know, regardless of how bad things are, because they really resonate with you. Lauren, anything to add there? I mean, obviously your mom has done a fantastic job, right, of pulling this together and making sure the family's involved. So you want to add anything into, you know, how that's how that has affected your understanding and appreciation for generational wealth?
Yeah, I think I grew up from such a young age watching my parents, be in business together. So I've always admired just kind of that entrepreneurship spirit that they had. And I think it just kind of transpired to my sister and I. One of the things for me that was so important as we looked at opportunities and brands is really to find something that aligned to us. Like Toya mentioned, the health and wellness, that's big to me. It's meant a lot to my sister as well. And so we really wanted something that really spoke to us. And for me, having 2 kids, I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, just for them to be able to be a part of it as well has been, really important to me. Toya mentioned them, looking at real estate sites, but my daughter helping with payroll and understanding all the aspects that go into a business itself. And so I think even at the end of the day, if this isn't what they want to do, they're learning valuable lessons today that can transpire to whatever they want to do. My daughter will tell you all the time she wants to be a vet, and I go, great, you can be a vet, you could still own these franchises and they'll be making money for you. I think, like, Dr. Dolly just mentioned, make that generational wealth at night for you in these businesses, and then take some of the lessons that we've been able to cultivate into them over these last couple of years, and then put that and apply it to whatever it is that you want to do down the road. So it's just really exciting to be able to work with family. I know sometimes people are like, how do you do it? But Toya, my sister, Chanel, and I, we really have kind of carved out lanes in what's important to each of us and things that we're really good at. My sister loves the sales and marketing aspect of it. I'm all things human resources. Toya's really great at operations. And so I think the balance of those two and really allowing, the team that you're working with to be able to cultivate that even helps with more success down the road.
Yeah, and when your daughter's ready, let her know. I have a great vet franchise for her. So she should give me a
I've been
call.
talking to her about it. I've been telling her I think that could be a good opportunity.
Absolutely. Richard, so talk to us a little bit about your journey with the Foundry and how you got there and how you're seeing that to help you build generational wealth.
Absolutely. So being a part of the Brooklyn Robot Foundry, my wife and I, we really value childcare education, youth enrichment. My wife is a director at Drexel University, where she manages a multi-million-dollar program for Urban Outfitters. And then from my experience working along with Bremer Bank and being within the finance and the conventional financing space, I get to support and structure financing for multi-unit franchisees and understand where their mindset is at when they're looking to grow and when they look at market penetration. So those two things, I think it was bound to happen for me to go into this space, but just finding something that connected with me. So within the youth enrichment space, it's a $152 billion industry. We felt like that is where you need to be, because many times in our cities, the public school education is beginning to fail some of our students, and they need to be exposed to the sciences. So at Brooklyn Robot Foundry, we focus on kids between the age of 2 to 14, where they're building motor skills. They're building up the syntax in their brain, both sides of the brain. They're using their hands. And we have a curriculum that is engaging, allowing a kid that's neurodiverse to get up and experience. Sometimes they need to fidget, sometimes they need to work. So these are things that we think the school was missing. In the industry where you have multiple opportunities, this is something we felt was missing. So that's why we wanted to bring that to the Philadelphia market. And instead of just buying one territory, we actually purchased 62 zip codes. So we have Snow by Philly East and Snow by Philly West, and we have the rights to South Jersey in our expansion because of the relationships that we built. And it's talking to hearing Dr. Jolly, you got to want to be a franchisee and want to penetrate, because obstacles are going to come up. And I'll give you a testimony. I don't think I've shared this testimony to anybody. We signed in 23 of September. In December of 23, my wife had a major accident where she fractured her vertebrae from her C1 to T2. But God had another thing in store, to where 1% of the people who have that industry are typically paralyzed. They can't walk, they have a trach. But April, my wife was able to get back at it. We were able to get back at it. We thought it was dark times. We weren't going to be able to move forward. But now we're penetrating in the market. We have multiple contracts with Friends schools, Quaker schools, private schools, companies, YMCAs. It's just continuing to grow. We have a team of 10 employees that we're continuing to grow in such a short amount of time. It's developing and pushing forward, because I think we kept the mission, but we kept our faith in God first. And we continue to know what we love, which is enriching children's lives, because we have 2 sons that are neurodiverse. So this is important to us because they love the sciences. So it's something that spoke to us. And I looked at the industry and I looked at the platform. And I also know if you find something, a brand that's emerging, that speaks to you, but they have the curriculum, the operational structure, and the chops, then they can compete and you can get better margins. So this is why this was also important to me, to build the generational wealth for my family.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Again, one of the pieces of advice that I give clients is to look for gaps in business and society that you would be able to fill in communities. And you are so right about the educational system, right? We've got new politics coming in the door, and if the Department of Education goes away, it's our children that are going to be, the most negatively impacted, right? They're going to need those STEAM and STEM programs, and you're right there, ready, teed up to provide that. So I think that's great. Toya and Lauren, you guys have been in business for quite a while now. Have you, what specific challenges have you faced as minority entrepreneurs in the franchise industry, and how did you overcome some of those?
I think one of the biggest challenges that we've seen has really been, the capital and getting the funding to expand. I take a look back at our first opportunity, and banks were telling us no left and right. And so I think one of the biggest challenges that most people have is they'll want to give up just with hearing that no, right? You go to one bank, you go to another one, the answer is no, no, no. And one of the things that we always say is a no is not always a no. It just means you are one step closer to a yes from someone else. And so I think just the resilience that we've had to build over the years in the financing department itself, just to be able to, build relationships with different banks, get creative when it comes to financing a project. I mean, we've physically bootstrap some of these businesses together sometimes, where it's like I'm using my credit card, my sister's using a credit card, we've got borrowing money. But what we've seen is as you continue to grow, opportunities present themselves. Now banks will ask us, can they help us finance another project? And so I think if you can just get over that initial hurdle in the beginning and really just kind of convince yourself that I'm betting on myself, I'm believing in myself, and I know that I have the power to be able to do this, and you want to see it succeed, it just creates opportunity as it continues.
Sure. Toya, anything to add to that, or a different challenge you faced?
I'll say much of my corporate experience as a African American female in a role traditionally in product management and development, you didn't really see people that looked like me. So I always had challenges and hurdles there of making people believers. And I feel like in the franchising space, we have that right now. I mean, which is why we have the Black Leadership Council and other things where we are sorely, sorely, sorely underrepresented in what has been, I'm going to call it a silent money maker and wealth generation builder. And I say that only because there's so many people out there who spend money every single day at a franchise, and yet they don't know that it's a franchise. And the number of people who think the Marriott family actually owns all those hotels, it's crazy. I'll use that one as an example, but they're spending money in the franchising system and are consumers of it, and yet they don't realize how important it could be for them to make a path for themselves. But that challenge I had on the corporate side, we have it over on this side too. So when we first got started, a big thing for us was um, I grew up, went to high school in Prince George's County, but I hadn't lived in the county in forever because I was traveling all over the country. When we moved back, I didn't move back to the county, and I didn't want to move to Prince George's County because there was no place to eat that I liked, that I had now become accustomed to. Every time I went to shop, I'd have to go, for those who know the DC area, I've got to go all the way over to Tyson's Corner or somewhere else. And we're like, this is crazy. And so we said, wouldn't it be great if we could just bring healthy living to Prince George's County? And boy, did that not resonate with brands. And so when you talk to them and you say, hey, I'd like to do a tropical smoothie cafe, and they're like, oh, great, the DC market? How about Arlington? How about Bethesda? How about McLean? And we're like, no, how about Prince George's County? And they could politely say what I knew and what I heard a lot before, which is, you've got to prove to me before I believe you that it works. And we've had to do that really with two of our brands. We're not in Prince George's County with our med spa, but same thing where they just were not sold. It's not, they said everything except we don't want to sell to Black people. And that has been a challenge, and I still see it being a challenge. And I see, you know, just how underrepresented we are with brands, with them thinking that we can be more than consumers. And that's just something that collectively, everybody on this call, we have a responsibility to change that dynamic.
Yeah, that would probably be, as a content contributor for Black Enterprise, that's probably the number one thing I've heard from feedback from Black franchise owners is brands not allowing them to open their locations where they like, where they live, where they work and play, and know that those folks will spend money there. They just don't trust it. They'll make you open somewhere first, else and then to the next one. So I totally understand that, but I would be completely remiss if I did not throw this question over to Richard, who is the funding man, to take it from that perspective, as well as now a recent franchisee owner.
So I would say my funding, the strategies that I utilized, I had the cash, but I had the equity to pull out of real estate to finance the overall project. Because I already know as a person in financing an emerging brand, not as many units, it's going to take some time to find the financing. But I know I'm driving enterprise value. So if I'm driving enterprise value and evaluation of this particular territory, then I know when I go back to an institution, I look for funding for my next 2 or 3 territories, then it's built in, it's already equity built into my company, because the money from where I pulled it out, it's not going to show from a credit standpoint on my business. It's going to show on me personally, which is good for the business when you go to do the structuring and you want to buy more territory. So that's why it was advantageous to buy more of a territory at that point, because you don't get rich in franchising. You don't create generational wealth by having 3 units, 3 zip codes, 3 territories. You need to have more. And what I've seen, if you look at some of the multiples and some of the childcare spaces, these multiples are anywhere between 5 to 8 times that they're selling these brands for when they go back to hit the market. So I know that's an opportunity that's taking place, and I also know the private equity market is out there. So there are a lot of things that's taking place that can affect the new brand that's beginning to thrive, that's getting ready to pick up steam. So that was my strategy from that standpoint. As far as difficulties, I think the biggest difficulty as a franchisee was when we were going for the RFPs, being an unknown minority certified contractor and battling with some of these contractors that have been in place for years. And they kind of go status quo sometimes when you're battling for these RFPs. So we had to take time and build multiple relationships. We had to be subcontractors of some of these RFPs. And usually for a new company right out the box, they were surprised to see us even at the table, putting together the structure and the financials. But we did, and we leaned on the 11 years that the brand has been in existence and their structure and how they impact the schools in New York and Connecticut and North Jersey. So we were able to begin to penetrate that market, and we're getting ready to receive RFPs to support our programs within the school district. And that's important because when you have revenue coming in, as you're getting this other revenue from different B2B contracts and B2C relationships, it's important to have that to stabilize. So I thought that was important. And I want to give a kudos to Jenny. As a franchisee coming into this brand, I didn't have issue as a black franchisee because Jenny believed, the way I met her, she started a friendowment program. And we did it through the IFA, where they actually, Janine, who's one of the franchisees who went to Howard University, worked for IBM. She was able to get that franchise for free and work in it for sweat equity, because that's how much the culture believed in diversity. And she sold me. And we actually together went to the Minority Enterprise Development Council down in DC when they had their conference to promote it. So she kind of put her money where her mouth was at that time. And you rarely see that. That sold me too. So that was just some of the things that we seen as challenges, but also just, opportunities out there. And always one of the biggest surprises, the labor market, when you're going to hire, people don't work like they used to, right? We're in the gig economy. We're in a gig economy where they want multiple jobs, they want latitude, they want freedom. You're now seeing where people want their pay every day. So as a franchisee, you have to pivot with this economy. And then we try to create, they really want a culture of loving. Like if they can see you like a family, or they can relate, they can attach, you understand their problems, you get somebody you can hold on to a while that'll probably run through a brick wall for you.
Yeah, that was extremely helpful, and it's a good segue into what I think is going to be our final question due to time. But Toya and Lauren, how do you see the landscape of minority entrepreneurship in the franchise industry evolving into the next few years? And what opportunities do you think are going to be in this space that we don't maybe have today? Toya, you want to take that one?
Sorry, I was trying to take myself off mute. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I was going to say that the opportunities are not going to decrease. I mean, they're out there. I think the biggest thing for us as a people is education. and understanding what resources are out there that are available. So, with the Diversity Institute and the programs that they're putting together, we've been working with David in Prince George's County to do seminars for folks to introduce them to franchising. During COVID, my daughters and I, we put together our own online class called So You Want to Buy a Franchise. And it really came about because people would come in our locations and see us there and like, wow, I didn't know this was Black owned. Oh, I didn't know this was a franchise. How do you do it? And they would say, oh, I just have one quick question. And or my children are way more active on social media than I am. So they are always posting stuff and they're doing, quick 15-minute calls with people. We just took all of those questions together and thought about our own journey and said, well, how could we educate people more? And so we spend a lot of time, not just, trying to pitch selling a course or anything, but because we so vehemently believe in we have to be better represented at the table, um, that we take the time to talk to people and encourage them to pursue it. Not necessarily what we're doing, but what speaks to them. I think Lauren and Richard and I have shown that we are on different paths, but there are things that we believe in, and there's so many franchises out there that it's really just getting people educated and getting people to how do I say, get rid of that fear from leaving that paycheck. Because God knows, Lauren has not left her paycheck yet. She's the one who's she's still holding on
I'm
to that
still
good
holding
paycheck.
on,
Yes.
still holding on.
Me and my other daughter have left, and there are days that I do miss that deep paycheck. But I know that, for what I'm doing, it's building a greater value. And I think oftentimes when we talk to people about it, they will get all the way up to they're about to sign or whatever, and we've seen people just back out, and it pains my heart, uh, because of fear. So I think with better
Yeah.
education and seeing more people doing it, and talking about their experiences, I really hope that we can move the needle.
Agreed.
I would
Richard,
agree 100%.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I
Lauren,
was just
yes,
going to say, I
absolutely.
would agree 100% on that. One of the things that we always say is, in order to be successful, you have to leap and the net will appear. And it's just, a testimony to like how we've been able to do it. Sometimes it's scary to do it, but you really do have to just kind of take that step out on faith. And obviously, Toya mentioned the education part, like not stepping out on, making sure you've done the educational portion first, but then definitely you have to take the leap. And so I think that's really important. I'd also say just aligning yourself with like-minded folks as well. So one of the things that proud our tropical smoothie, especially in our DMV market, is we have what we call like the Brown Girls group. And it's all of the other franchise owners that are a part of the DMV area. And so it's sharing resources. I just got an email today about, a payroll change that's going to be taking place in the DMV area. And so constantly sharing information with others as well, so that you're soaking up and absorbing, but then you're also pouring back into others, I think helps us all to be successful, and we all can continue to grow in franchising from that.
Agreed. Richard, take us home with that. What do you think the landscape is going to be like for minority franchise owners?
Well, first, I will to give a shout out to the Franchise Ascension Initiative. This has been a program, an accelerator at work for some years, and we have 17 Black future franchisees, some current franchisees in that class. And it's amazing. We have raised over close to 3 million for this particular endeavor. And it's more to come, because we had a conversation where we said, when do we go from conversation to quality and quantitative numbers of creating franchisees? And that's the overall goal. And the IFA already had an educational instrument through the CFE, but everybody from the foundation to Matt Holler, CEO, everybody came together on one platform and saw this as an important agenda. And I gotta give credit to Omar and Raina for investing. They took the first leap, right? They put their money where their mouth was at. And we'll have our first class graduating come the IFA conference in 2025. So I think that's going to continue to grow leaps and bounds. So we're looking for more support, more donations wrapped around that. I think also the platform, there's Alicia Miller, I give her credit. She wrote a book, Big Money in Franchising. If you don't have it, you need to get it. The private equity landscape, there's $2 trillion in dry powder getting ready to move into franchising. You're seeing it. You're seeing it with the Jersey Mike sale. You're seeing it with the private equity companies coming in. If you want to invest, you could invest in those companies as a limited partner. So you might not be able to do it when they hit the secondary market, but in that private market, you may be able to invest and take advantage of when that company goes public. You're going to see a lot of companies, I think, within the next 3 years begin to go public in franchising. So franchising, we're at the bottom rung. We're nowhere near where franchising can truly be. And you're seeing it because you have these private equity firms creating these platforms. You have family offices coming in there. The high wealth is coming in there because they're getting almost 14% returns on the private market. So this is what's taking place. I see that taking place, and I see more minorities and more Black entrepreneurs coming into this space and understanding the wealth vehicle that it is, being able to replicate their wealth. And you're seeing this with multiple programs, even with your program that you currently have at Ben & Jerry's, where they're trying to bring more diverse candidates to the table. This is extremely important because you go where the growth is at. You know, you have to, you got to go, you look at where the opportunities are at. So I'm excited for what's to come. I'm here for the work. My hands has been in the soil for a long time and it ain't coming out. And I also, you know, I thank people like Toya and her daughters, always an inspiration. Ever since I've seen you speak, you always put your money where your mouth is at. You're always out here grinding, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely shout out to Ben & Jerry's. I'm so proud of being able to bring so many owners of color to the table and having them expand their portfolios or be new to franchising in Ben & Jerry's and the incentives that we're giving. But I also want to just mention that there are all parts of franchising that we need people of color in. I'm being on the franchisor side of Ben & Jerry's and being able to approve people of color that may not have gotten through for whatever reason on the funding side, on the investing side, like you said, for financial purposes, banks and funding. But there are all kinds of opportunities in franchising for people of color, and we need everyone on every level to be in there to make sure that we can advance this program for generational wealth and making sure that we're all looking out for each other and helping each other out. That's our time. Thank you so much, Toya, Lauren, Richard. Great panel. Really appreciate the Black Franchise Leadership Council allowing us to be here and share our stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. And so I wanted to take a few moments just to talk about some upcoming events that we have for the Diversity Institute. As you all know, the IFA convention is coming up February 10th through the 13th. We'll be in Las Vegas again. The registration is open now. We ask that you all, if you can, try to attend. That'll be, we call it the Super Bowl of franchising. And so we're expecting 4,000 people, over thousands of brands there, just engaged for three and a half days of all things franchising. You can find more about that at franchise.org. And then also wanted to give you a preview. We just published our Diversity Institute Impact Report. And wanted to just kind of give you a quick preview of what it looks like. I'll share this document after this call. But this gives a summary of what we've done throughout the year and what you can look forward to seeing in 2025. We start with our letter from our CEO, Matt Haller. Fortunately, the work that we do is supported from the top down at IFA. And so Matt's very excited to be releasing this report for the second year in a row. We list all of our Diversity Institute committee members. We share about our 3 different affinity group councils. So this is the Black Franchise Leadership Council, but we also have a Hispanic Latino Franchise Leadership Council and a Pride Council. We go into this Franchise Ascension Initiative that Richard was mentioning. We have 17 amazing candidates that are getting 6 months of training to become franchisees, hopefully next year. That was announced at convention. here are all of the early brands that supported the Ascension Initiative. And then here are even some mentors. Each of the candidates get paired up with a mentor for their program throughout their program duration. Here's some more pictures of the cohort. And then we also break down our programs throughout the year. We do these webinars, and then we also do in-person trainings as well. And so this gives a snapshot of who we're reaching and our online presence as well. And then just some highlights from all of our programs throughout the year. I'll send this to you all to view, but it's a really great document for you to share with everybody to let them know that IFA is present and we're growing and we're trying to reach diverse communities. So we appreciate your support there. I wanted to pass it back to BFLC Chair Carolyn Thurston to deliver closing remarks. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, for your ability to be here. If you're like me, you are full. We had a full plate, a full meal. So thank you, everyone, from our guest speaker to all our panelists. I know I took away some really great nuggets just about growing self first, then grow people, difference between rich and wealthy. And I love the best is yet to come, but also from the panelists, understanding how you have to have that right mindset even before you go into franchising and looking at putting those brands all together. So I know this is all going to be recorded, so you definitely want to go back. You know, I've learned that you have to read something at least 7 times before also watching it, right? We can learn so much. So invite some other people, let them know about what we heard here. This was worth, look, we didn't even have to pay anything for all this wealth of knowledge. So let's take this, let's move into 2025 and put this into action and tell other people to come and join us at the Black Franchise Leadership Council. So I'm just saying Merry Christmas to everyone. Enjoy your families, enjoy your brands, just enjoy what God has given us the opportunity to be a part of. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
guys.